Oke, kita sudah masuk ke 850.
Can you hear me now?
Hi Roland, yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is the sound okay? Or do you need it? Microphone is running in the back, so it could be that it makes bad noise.
Testing. Audio. Testing.
Yeah. Testing here from Beyond Cafe in Singapore.
Yes, we can hear you, Roland. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
We have a lot of background noise
Who is background?
from the
Almost
workshop.
like here. Me and Roy, do we have a... Roland? Can you hear?
everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us on Hydraulics Tech Talk, back for the second year, brought to you by Rexroth Live. My name is Inga Laurina Eka, and for the next 2 exciting days, I'll be your host, streaming from Jakarta, Indonesia. Let me quickly say hi to our audience out there. Good morning to Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Philippines. Good morning, Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. And good afternoon to you in Australia and New Zealand. A big region we have here, isn't it? I hope everyone is keeping safe at all times and staying healthy. Speaking of keeping it safe, I'd like to assure you that over here in the studio, we are practicing the necessary health and safety measures, wearing face masks or shields and keeping our distance of 1.5 to 2 meters from each other. Our colleagues in Australia and New Zealand, however, are fortunate as the countries have been able to contain the COVID cases, and therefore wearing masks is not a mandatory. But our speakers streaming from the rest of the region, as well as Germany, are all practicing the same measures. So yes, we keep moving to deliver our support and services to you during this difficult time. And we do it with the required safety measures, because safety is a priority and responsibility to us here in Bosch Rexroth. Now, Rexroth Live is a platform from ASEAN and Oceania where we have thus far brought to you the Hydraulics Tech Talk as well as the Factory Automation Tech Talk. And last year, we had over 1,000 registrations from the region and India. However, today's Hydraulic Tech Talk, though, we are focusing on us, ASEAN and Oceania. Not only will you see what our service capabilities in the region, you'll also learn more about our technology and solution and how they apply to your industrial requirements. This morning, we'll take you for a tour around our service centers in the region to give you an insight into the kind of services we can do for you. From repairs and services for your valves, motors, and pumps, how service agreements can add value, as shown from the examples done in Indonesia. And recently in Singapore, we opened a marine repair center servicing for the entire region. And later in the afternoon, you learn more about servicing of the energy cylinders and systems. And at the end of the day, you learn about a unique use case in the mining sector with our mobile hydraulics aftermarket solutions. Now, the second day of the Hydraulics Tech Talk is all about now, next, beyond technology and their applications in civil engineering, food production, and more. Today's world is all about connectivity, and Bosch Rexroth understands this very well. Learn more about our modular end-to-end connectivity solution to transfer data from and to the mobile machines, as well as the newest addition of our connected hydraulics, the Citra Connect and Citra Force. You must be curious what we have from the next Beyond stream. Well, I'm pleased to tell you that Bosch Rexroth is also moving forward with our green tech. How exciting, don't you think? Please stay with us until the end and you'll see how we are the right partner for you. To add to what I have just told you, let's now welcome Hasbi Lubis, General Manager from Indonesia, and Roland Keller, Regional President of ASEAN and Oceania.
Good morning, everyone. We wish we can greet you in person, just like what we did several years ago. But however, wherever you are, we trust that you, families, and colleagues are all well. We, myself and the team here, welcome you from Jakarta, and our experts will join you in the next 2 days online from various locations in ASEAN, Australia, and Germany. In the next 2 days, we will have conversations not only about our products, but our wide spectrums of services. We will support you, our customers, to design, install, repair, maintain, and modernize your fleet throughout the life cycle of your installed machine. We will help you to improve the efficiency and availability, and also to reduce the total cost of ownership. Now, I will hand over to Roland in Singapore. Roland?
Good morning and a heartfelt welcome to all our customers, our partners, and our colleagues here in ASEAN Oceania and overseas. I would like to use this opportunity to thank especially our marketing team who's put together with all the colleagues this event now for the third time. And we are forming in this tech talk, the hydraulic tech talk here now. We talk about the now, next, and beyond. I'm standing in front of our hydraulics of the future, where we think about your challenges and you, our customers, how we can cater to them. And so in this theme of now, next, and beyond for the next 2 days, we will focus on the now. A lot of the products that 2 years ago, 1 year ago even, were still in the next are already in the now. And it's now our job to drive these products into this region, which is one of the strongest performing regions in the world, ASEAN and Oceania. We had, as Bosch Rexroth, I can say we had a much better year, for instance, last year than we all expected. And we want to continue to drive this development in the positive sense to increase the relevance of this region, increase of the sustainability as was outlined before, with solutions that we can offer to this industry to make it better every day, leveraging on factory automation products that we have into the industrial hydraulics, the mobile hydraulics, to connect the devices, and with this open up opportunities to ever drive efficiency and productivity. Yeah. So I wish you especially a good learning journey for the next 2 days, with safety in place, I hope, and I'm sure. So with this format, I think we have a very relatively safe environment for this. But most important also, I like to wish you a lot of fun and enjoy the next 2 days. Take care. Back to you. Back to Inga.
Thank you, Pak Hasbi, and thank you, Roland, for the inspiring messages and your take on the current situation in the region and the overview of how Bosch Rexroth can and is ready to support our customers with the services, capabilities, and technology offered. On that note, let's now proceed to our first session, the original service. In this segment, our speakers from Australia, Singapore, and Indonesia will highlight some of our services. Of course, we'll also be touring around ASEAN and Australia to see the service centers. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our first speaker, Andrew Herbert, Service Manager from Australia. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Inga. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. May I see your face right now because I cannot see you from our screen here. And I understand, Andrew, you're not wearing any face mask because it's not actually a mandatory in Australia. Why is that, Andrew?
Yeah, that's correct. No, we haven't had mandatory face masks in Australia or in Victoria. I'm in Melbourne, Victoria, so we haven't had mandatory face masks in here for 3 or 4 weeks. But they have been mandatory probably for a year leading up to that. So things are looking good on our COVID front in Australia.
And of course, things are looking great for your presentation. So let's give the floor to Andrew.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Inga. Thank you for the introduction. As most of you know, my name is Andrew Herbert. I'm the service manager down here in sunny Melbourne, and today it's my pleasure to take you through our service capability for all valve repairs for servo and proportional valves. Next slide, please. Our state-of-the-art test facility, combined with our proportional and servo valve trained technicians, makes Melbourne a service centre of competency for all valve repair since 2007. Our highly skilled technicians undertake the fit for service training in Germany, and we look at renewing this training every 2 to 4 years. Using Bosch Rexroth IoT technology, we're connecting our test facility to your service centre. Our purpose-built test stand is powered by a Cytro box connected to Cytro Connect to give our clients full connectivity to our valve test room. Cytro Connect is an online platform that allows authorised partners to view live testing outputs from the Cytro box. For the QA side of our testing, we use CAD Assist to align testing parameters to the full factory standard, including any special valve functionality and features, which is pretty common in the servo and proportional valves. CAD Assist is a valuable tool. It's a test that incorporates multiple product groups within the Rexroth range and allows us to access the test documentation through valve material numbers. Next slide, please. So an introduction into servo and proportional valves. So the four main servo valves that we see currently through our service department on the left-hand side. The range of proportional valves is far greater than the range of servo valves, and you can you can see there that not only just proportional valves, but we also have the proportional relief and reducing valves also. Next slide, please. So before we start any disassembly and assembly of the servo and proportional valves, we undertake internal performance tests to understand how much leakage there is within inside the valve. There's not much point in stripping a valve down, resealing, assembling, just to find out that it's got too much leakage and it can't be, and it doesn't work, essentially. So we do 5 tests, which is electrical test, a spool position feedback test, internal spool leakage test, a gain test, and a gain flow test. So over the next few slides, I'll take you through individually what each of these tests means. So the electrical test is our first test, which essentially is just an electrical functionality test, where we're putting command signal into the valve and making sure we've actually got electrical functionality of the valve. Once we have that and we know the valve is working, we would then conduct a spool feedback test to make sure that the feedback from the spool is matching the input. Once we've done the spool leakage test, the electrical test, sorry, we would then go to the spool leakage test. So as you can see on the left-hand side, the graph on the left-hand side is a test completed at 100 bar delta P. So we're putting 100 bar into the valve. Our A and B ports are blocked, and then we're measuring the leakage back through the T port of the valve. So generally speaking, each valve has different leakage rates, but we want to always be under the maximum permissible limit. If we're not under that limit, then the next following few tests don't go ahead, because we need to either assess if the valve's repairable or not. So with our proportional valves, we're not replacing any spools, but for our servo valves, then we are able to replace the spool and sleeve, which we'll see later in the repair process. The second, or the third test is the gain test. So all servo solenoid valves undertake the gain test. Can you just go back one slide, please? Thank you. So this is a command input versus pressure output. So we're looking at the graph on the right-hand side of the screen. This is measuring the valve's potential, and it's just a test that's completed in the valve's center position. So we're not moving the spool very far at all. The signal we're giving to the valve is a test signal in UE voltage. And I say a test signal because it's 1% of the span of the signal. So we're only giving the valve 1%. As you can see in the diagram, again, 100 bar delta P going into the valve. Instead of having A and B blocked this time, we're actually measuring pressure in that A and B, in the A and B line. So as we increase the signal percentage, we see the differential across the valve change. And as that differential changes, we plot that along the graph on the right-hand side. And again, we want to see that within inside the grade area, or as we like to call it, the bottleneck of the valve. Next slide, please. So the next test we complete is a flow gain test, similar to a gain test, but we're actually measuring flow through the valve. We're not looking at pressure this time. So this is a command input versus flow output. Measuring the valve's potential along the stroke of the valve at a constant delta P. And that constant delta P you can see on the right hand side, which is in the 5 different increments. So if we're putting in, say, 5 or 10 delta P, we're then looking to move the spool through the different percentage, and then we're plotting the flow through the valve. So, you know, the difference between those two tests is one's in the center position, whereas one's at the extremity of the valve. So we're looking at the 80, 90, 100% command. And then the last test we go through, which I don't have a graph for, it's actually a test that we've developed locally here in Melbourne. One of our servo technicians has developed this over a long period of time, and we call it a vibration analysis test because we're measuring the electrical vibration through the valve. It's an input command versus flow rate stability over a period of time. And what we're looking for to see if there's any faults in the electrics of it. You know, we have some complaints from customers where valves come in with intermittent electrical faults. So this is a test that we run over 30 minutes to an hour. Next, please. So now we move into, once we've completed those tests, we move into the repair process. The repair process for the servo and the proportional valves is similar, but you'll see in the servo valve that there's a lot more components to a servo valve. But essentially what we're doing with the disassembly of the valve is we're looking to remove all the internal spool components from the valve. We're putting them through the ultrasonic cleaner, sometimes with the body of the valve, and then we're removing the LVDT, the adjusting piece in the coil, giving them a thorough examination and a look over. Obviously, once we're happy with those, we're assembling the valve with all genuine Rexroth components, installing the LVT and the spools back into the valve, and then we would move on to the calibration of the valve. Calibration in both repair processes is the most important part for us. In the proportional valve, we're looking at setting up the LVDT. This is calibrated through the end adjustment screw of the LVDT, and then it's also adjusted through the adjusting piece on the magnet. The only one test we complete once we've adjusted the center position of the LVT of the spool through the LVDT is we give it a flow gain test. So if you remember back, we're just testing the flow through the valve at the input signal. So that's the repair process of the servo. Next slide. So as I said, the repair process for a servo valve is a lot more in depth and takes a lot more time. We're looking at about 8 hours for the repair of a servo valve compared to 4 hours for repair of a proportional valve. Again here though, stripping the valve down, getting the spool and sleeve out of the valve, removing the electrics from the valve, and then we move from there. So once we get that stripped down, again, internal components into the ultrasonic cleaner. If we're putting a new spool and sleeve into the valve, new spool and sleeve, genuine Rexroth parts, genuine Rexroth seals, and then starts the calibration. Again, calibration of the servo valves is mightily important for on-site performance. We're looking at an input pressure of 140 bar delta P. The first set point is reached through the main jets at 35 bar, which we test through a test port. And then from here, we're doing fine adjustments of the secondary jets to align the feedback arm, which is connected to the spool. Feedback arm, which is connected to the spool, which actually controls the valve. So as the pressures become imbalanced through the jets, that's when we get the movement of the spool. The position of the spool, we actually monitor that on the servo valve through an A and B port flow meter. And then again, we're doing a flow gain test for repeatability of the center position of the spool. That concludes our repair process. Next slide for me, please. So not only are we just doing individual repairs of valves, we also do calibration of complete units. We use a new test rig just recently down here in Melbourne where we have an input power of 150 kilowatts. We have functionalities to do analog and digital controls. For analog, we would use our test box that we've manufactured down here locally. We'll be testing SY-DFE pumps on that. The example that we have on our screens now is A4 VSO 250, the HS4 controller. We will be testing this with a digital card, so a VT, VP, CD, running it through a laptop with the Bodac software. What we do is we download the firmware from your drive card onto our laptop and then drive the pump using the internal parameters from your amplifier card. From here, we complete the standard efficiency test that you would see in all our service centres: mechanical and electrical null, full stroke of the pump versus swash plate feedback. Again, that's an input versus feedback. Full pressure versus pressure feedback, which you can see there. That's the signal transducer on the side there measuring the pressure. Yeah. So moving on to my last slide now, which is some applications and industries that we would see our stuff in. So obviously our Rexroth manufactured solutions, we see a lot of ECS cylinders. That's our main servo cylinder, our main servos. Motion control stimulated and stage technologies is another one that's really picking up with a lot of proportional technology on it. Our main ones are industrial power units and then our industrial valve stands with a lot of proportional, and also you would see H4 technology on that. And also press manifolds is an interesting one. These vary in sizes from size 6 to size 80 for logics and proportional valves. So there's no valve too big or too small that we can't do down here in Melbourne. And then just our final part to finish off, what industries are we seeing is in injection molding and blow molding were a big one for us with complete machine control and proportional, but that's now phasing out. Agricultural machines, obviously John Deere with our A10s. And swash plate feedback, we're seeing a lot more of those come through our service centre. Mobile marine and shipping is a worldwide industry with a lot of proportional and servo valve control. Food processing, steel recycling, rubber recycling and paper recycling are all using Rexroth proportional control. And then obviously a big one around the world is metal forging, roll form, and also construction materials, mineral sands, concrete, cement, things like that. Anyway, that's my presentation concluded. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your presentation, Andrew. So please stay put, don't go anywhere, as we'll be taking questions from the audience later on our session. And this is a reminder for all of our audience, please put your questions on our Q&A function. And once again, thank you very much, Andrew. So what do you say if we take our audience to your service center in Sydney? Let them see this facility where you perform repairs for the servo and proportional valves, and where I'm sure you guys do a lot more.
Welcome to Service at Rexroth Australia. I'm Jeff Shepherd, I'm the National Service Manager. We have 9 service centres around the country, and we can help with repairs of systems and equipment like pumps, motors and valves. And I'm now standing in the service facility where we overhaul large piston pumps and motors. Here in our Sydney Repair Centre, we sell spare whole goods and parts. Australia-wide, we have a very large field service team, and we can help you with breakdowns, preventative maintenance, or modernisation projects. If you have any questions or inquiries regarding hydraulic service in Australia, please don't hesitate to look us up.
So that was the Sydney Service Centre. And Australia is huge. I wonder where else in the continent Bosch Rexroth Service Centres are located. Let's find out. As you can see, we are now connected to Paul Taylor from Sydney. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. And it's great to have you here, Paul. Do you mind sharing your designation and where you're standing, Paul?
I'm still based in Sydney and work on the service sales department in New South Wales.
Ah, I see. And we were just shown the Sydney Service Centre. How many more of these facilities do you have in Australia, Paul, and where?
Well, as Jeff said in the video, we have 9 locations. They're all located on the east and west coast of Australia. We have our major service centres in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane on the east coast of Australia. We have smaller service centres in Adelaide, one to the north of Sydney and Newcastle, and in the far north Queensland in Mackay. And over on the west coast, we have our major service in Perth, and a smaller service centre just south of Bunbury, then in the northwest in Port Hedland. All these locations give us great access and serviceability to many of our supported industries, and as we all know, Australia is a very large country, and with that in mind, we also have the advantage of several service partners across Australia too, and we call upon them to help in the more remote locations of Australia for, you know, product support and repairs, on-site support and things like that.
Pandemic, we can visit you guys there, hopefully. So Paul, could you share about the industries where the industry do you provide your services for?
Sure. Well, we have many areas of industry that we're involved with and support, like manufacturing and mining, agriculture, renewables. There's probably a few of the larger ones. And many of these industries, like mining and agriculture, have many different areas within their industry requiring specific and specialised support. But we do have quite a large product range and also repair capabilities, whether that be for hydraulics, electronics or automation, and I guess that is why we are able to support so many areas of industry.
Okay, last one, Paul. Do you have specialist services and repairs for specific product lines?
Yes, we do. Here in Sydney, we have our remanufacturing program, or reman as we call it. This is for our large hydraulic piston pumps and motors. Here we turn over around 800 a year, mainly in support of our mining industry here in Australia. In Melbourne, we specialise in our electro-hydraulic proportional products, which you've just heard about from Andrew. In Brisbane, we have specialised capabilities for large hydraulic cylinder repairs. It is also one of our specialist service centres for our Hagwon's product lines, large hydraulic drives. The other service centre being in Perth, Western Australia. Our Hagwon's product is a very large area of our business at Bosch Rexroth here in Australia. So in saying that, I think we have Matt Purchard coming up next to talk in detail more about that. I think he's waiting.
Okay, then let's call upon Matt Purchard over here on our studio. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also excellent, in case you're wondering. Welcome to the studio, Matt. And yeah, of course, could you tell us more about what makes Haglin's drives unique?
Big motors, you know, full torque at really low RPMs, direct drive. It certainly stands out as its own product in the global market.
Okay, and of course, before we give the floor to you for your presentation, let's take a look at this exciting bumper that you're going to witness.
And Sydney also looks after some of the big pump repairs. So we also have remote service technicians that can service all these areas and look after us and our customers with the Hagwon's product. Next slide, please. So the industries we look after, Australia, mining, recycling is also quite big in Australia, so car shredders, balers, things like that. Sugar, so food processing, pulp and paper, marine and offshore. Chemicals, not so much big in Australia anymore, but it certainly used to be. Rubber, oil and gas, and the plastics industries. Next slide, please. So the Hagwon's original service, so it's original spare parts, always using the Bosch Rexroth Hagwon's OEM original spare parts in our rebuilds. We have predictive maintenance monitoring that we can offer as well. We can retrofit into old systems and supply from new systems. We have the best technical experts, factory trained technicians, engineering, the whole box and dice in Australia. We have 30 workshops globally, so no matter where you are, we can always help out. And we also can draw off other countries' knowledge and learnings. We do service agreements, and we have unrivaled delivery terms and remote technician support. So we can help worldwide and close by. Next slide, please. So essentially, we can look after the whole system from conception all the way through commissioning, servicing, condition monitoring, repairs of the systems, the components, all the way through its life cycle. We also offer training to our customers, so need-specific, drive-specific training. And we also keep a lot of dedicated spare parts for the Hagwon's product on the shelf. And we also have service exchange on some of the products. So next page, slide, please. So for the motor repairs in Australia, we can repair any of the Hagwon's motors. As mentioned before, Brisbane and Perth are the repair centres for the HD product, and this is where all of the bigger motors get sent to get overhauled. So we can do absolutely any Hagwon's product in these two service centres. Next slide, please. Also with that, the pumps. So Brisbane and Perth, we can repair all the pumps, the smallest pumps all the way up to our biggest pumps, which is the Hagwon's SP 750. And we can do them also in Sydney, and a few other little branches can do the smaller pumps. Next slide, please. So one thing we can offer is the Hagwon's CM and CMP, which is an online conditioning monitoring system. Essentially, we do it with a service agreement, and as you can see from the slide, it becomes standard in the DUEs, and we can retrofit it into the older power units. So we can look at speed command, the stroker current, charge pressure, case temperatures, case flows from the pumps and the motors. So we can see in real time exactly what's happening with your system. The customer also has access to this portal. You can look on, has a machine health index, so you can trend your machine's performance ever from the point you put it on to now in lifetime. Next slide, please. So with our external services, we also offer field service, and in that we can do fitness checks as part of a service agreement. We can go in, we'll go in and we'll check how the system is performing, its health from new, and we can go right through, check everything, see what's, and then recommend any rectification work that is required on the system, if any. Next slide, please. So this is the Hagwon's life cycle. We can look after it from conception all the way through to the grave is what I call it, cradle to grave. So from the initial design, tube work, hosing, flushing, fitting of the motors. We can also do the commissioning of the system, servicing of it, monitoring health all the way through, any rebuilds that are required, anything till its end of life. Next slide, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as you're still here, I would also like to hear Andrew and Paul, because this is the time. If you got any questions to all of our audience, please hit us up on the Q&A feature on your screen. But while waiting for your question, I would like to ask to one of our gentlemen here about the benefits. So maybe Matt could help us with this. What are the benefits that Bosch Rexroth offer over a local hydraulic company?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Inga. Can you see me? Thanks, Inga. So
yes.
The benefits over a local hydraulic company versus Bosch Rexroth is we have factory support and we have factory trained technicians. So they're not going to site into the unknown. They know what they're looking at. They have the backing of full engineering team in Australia. They have 24/7 help. We have 24/7 services, so the phone's always on. Product knowledge and know-how that facilitates a quick and efficient diagnosis of a system's conditions and corrective actions if required. So that's certainly the benefits from using Bosch Rexroth, the OEM, for the product, rather than using a local person.
Ground services then. And next question is for Matt. So do we need service agreement to have CMP HD installed? Do we also need to send our machine data to Rexroth server? What if we are not allowed to send the machine data outside of our company, Matt? Still the CM can be applied on the system?
So we tend to use a CMP program with service agreements only. It's the way we tend to do it. And unfortunately, you do have to send the data out. However, the data you send out doesn't really, you can't see what the system is doing, because when it goes to the server, they decipher it all, and then that gives us all the readings online. So it's not so much they can see what the machine or the tons or anything like that. The data that's sent out would mean absolutely nothing to anyone except for us when we decipher it in the server.
Cool then. Now we're going to move to Tommy. I think one of our audience also have question. Maybe you would like to comment on what Matt just been told us earlier. Okay then. Too bad we don't have much time for the Q&A session on this first part of our event. And now let's move on from Oceania to ASEAN and see what's rippling in the area. We have Tommy Wee here, Service Manager from Singapore.
Hi, hello, good morning, Inga.
Good morning, Tommy. So what are you going to tell us about today?
Yeah, as you can see my background, we are standing in our Singapore Marine Repair Workshop. So we are in the workshop here, just to let the viewers see the surrounding, and later the viewers may be able to see a virtual tour. Yeah, but today I have a guest. His name is Mr. Roy Hun from Under Hydraulics Asia. They were recently appointed as our Certified Excellent Service Partner in Singapore, or CE Partner as we call it in the Rexroth world. So good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Tommy, and to all our viewers. Thank you for having me today.
Cool
Firstly,
working
Roy,
space
can
you
you-
got there, yeah? Sorry, it's a
Yep.
cool working space. It took me
right.
an awe to see your working space. So Tommy and Roy, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. So firstly, Roy, can you tell us more about your company?
All right. Being a certified excellent service partner of Bosch Rexroth means we are Under Hydraulics Asia is an approved repair center for all the Bosch Rexroth products. This means that you also will expect the same manufactured quality repairs. Over the last 22 years, our business has been about the repair of axial piston pumps and motors of all brands as our core competence, which is also backed up by a large inventory of spare parts, up-to-date in-house repair facilities, as well as a dedicated and technical team of people to match. All our repairs are quality assured by dynamically testing the units after every repair on our test benches, with the largest one being 750 kilowatts in power capacity.
Oh, that's fantastic. Good to hear. So how far has it been going for your company since the appointment of CE?
That's a great question. Since the appointment, we have had to increase our range of service offerings to the full range of Bosch Rexroth products, which has also led to more opportunities for service-related activities on a system level as well. So we have also, in addition, we have also been have requests for design and supply of new systems, as well as some planned maintenance activities. Actually, planned maintenance activities tend to reduce the overall maintenance cost for the customer.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding all that, the customer still will receive the same excellent after-sales technical support.
Right, right. So in the COVID-19 situations, what is your take on the current trend in the service industry, especially in the marine sector?
Okay. In the marine sector, especially in Singapore, we have seen a growing number of ship repair, maintenance, and upgrade activities. Every ship owner wants to stretch their dollar to the maximum right now, rightly so in this economic condition. Therefore, price is a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, yes, I hear you. Because we do encounter other workshop offering cheaper alternative, but in fact, they are only changing seals, but they claim to the customer that they are doing a complete repair. And at that sense, I think customer is taking a big risk here.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, but sometimes in order to change more spares, you must have them in your inventory as well. And we have tried to overcome this challenge by having a fair number of complete units in our inventory for quick conversions, just to have a very quick turnaround time for the customer, which is crucial right now.
Yeah, that reminds me.
Yeah.
Remember, we have a customer that have about 25 pump units, and we were given like 2 weeks time frame to complete it. I think that's partly where we also have set up Marine Repair Center, which I will be explaining a little bit more.
Yeah, I remember there was a urgent breakdown, 20 over units of pumps and motors. Neither you or me could have handled it on our own. So with our combined resources, physical and our spares, we managed to complete the job. I think the customer was really happy.
Yep. So maybe I move on to my slides, studio. Okay, as mentioned earlier, we have set up the Marine Repair Center in Singapore to alleviate the pain points faced by the customer. So we hope to have a quick turnaround time for repairs than before. We have received many feedbacks from the industry. Usually 2 points pop up: quick turnaround and competitive pricing. So the Marine Repair Centers are working towards this direction. Slide 2, please. Yeah, can we have the slides, please? Yep. So the marine repair centers are set up in the strategic locations along shipping routes. From the west, we have Houston in North America, in Europe, Bochum, Germany, and down to the Middle Eastern region, we have Istanbul, Turkey, and soon to be Dubai. And of course, in Southeast Asia, Singapore, where you see behind me our marine repair workshop. And China, we have Shanghai, Busan, Korea, and soon to be Yokohama, Japan. Yeah. So with the Marine Repair Center, we are offering a single point of contact to every fleet managers and superintendents to help them organize their maintenance action within the Rexroth global network. For example, if you have ships traveling to China or Korea or even Europe, you just need to go to the nearest Marine Repair Center and we will help to coordinate the repair for you. So that means no fuss, no frills for the customer. Customers do not need to engage with various contact points. We will do it for you. And of course, you'll be assured of quality repair as your pumps will be repaired by Bosch Rexroth. So move on to slide 3. So as you can see in these slides, showing you typical applications that are found on ships. So we do provide a service agreement according to customers' needs. Yeah, and all these systems that you see here are operated by hydraulic system, and we should be able to support you on the components repair. So move on to slide 4. So I would like to deep dive in the 2-stroke diesel engine application where likely HPS pumps are installed. Slide 5, please. So in this slide, it's showing the degradation of pump. So these are typical A4 VSO pumps. We will use this pump as reference to other models. So based on our experience and technical feedback from the shop floor, as you can see, at 32,000 hours or 5 years of operation, pump is somewhat in good condition. So there are few marks of cavitation started to show at the control plate. But you see bearings, rotary group are still relatively in good condition. But of course, this assumes that the oil is clean without contamination, and the viscosity of oil is according to the parameters requirement. But let's take a look at slide 6. Now, in this slide, at 64,000 hours or 10 years of operation, heavy wear can be seen at the control plate, rotary group, swash plate, bearings, and the control piston. So now wear is more evident and visible than before. Then it needs to be reworked or replaced to bring the pump back within the limits. So we spoke earlier about other workshops offering cheaper option by just replacing seals and bearings. But at 64,000 hours, the pump is at risk of failure if we do not replace the wear parts. Yeah, moving on, slide 7. So I would like to show you, this is a typical bathtub curve. It is widely used in reliability engineering. So as you can see, at the 32,000 hours mark, it is still running at a constant failure rate. But once it hits the 64,000 hours, there is an increased failure rate. Simply changing the seals and bearing only will not work. Yeah. So slide 8, please. So we do offer 4 repair packages here in Marine Repair Center. The overhaul basic, where only the bearings and seals are replaced. There may be some risk of electronics failure, but this is for customers who are on a very, very tight budget. Yeah. Next slide. As you can see in the overhaul light packages, those highlighted in blues are the parts that will be replaced as part of the package. So that means bearings, seals, and the electronics like transducer and proportional valve. Slide 10. So moving on, in this slide, besides those in blue, the core parts of the pump will be replaced if it is showing the sign of visible wear. So I guess in that sense, it will be more economical for the customer if the pump is really in bad condition. Yeah. And slide 11. So as you can see here, we also have the reman packages. Yeah. So in the reman package, all of the internal parts are replaced. Only the pump casing is used back. So pump will work as new. So as you can see, we are offering 2 years warranty for reman, and overhaul flat packages 1 year, and followed by overhaul light. Yeah. So next slide, please. So at the back of these packages, we have centralized warehouse in Nuremberg, Germany. So the warehouse ensures that the A4 VSO pump spare parts are on stock most of the time. So any stocks that are depleted will be replenished accordingly. And we will indent the parts. Takes about approximately 2 to 3 weeks to get it into Singapore. Yeah. So, okay, so for now, I've just finished my presentation. Maybe we will have a short tour to our workshop. Cameraman, thank you. So over here, you can see our state-of-the-art test rig. So this is where all our pumps will be tested here. And we can see we have a CADIC system, record accurate readings. Yeah, move on. And you see the next station in red, this is actually our Hacklin Test Rig, where our Hacklin motors are tested here. And we will try to simulate extreme parameters condition to make sure the motor is repaired and tested properly before giving to the customer. Yeah, move on, please. So over here, we have a washing machine where all the parts will be thoroughly washed and cleaned. This is to prevent any contamination before we assemble the pump. Yep, next slide. And as you can see, this corner, this is actually a Citro pack corner and Citro box, where my colleague Andrew Lee will talk to you a little bit more later on. Yep, move on. So at this corner is where we test our valve. This is a test rig specifically assigned for testing of valve. So as you can see, we have a lot of test rig designed and assigned to specifically components for repair. Yep. Yep, cameraman, okay. So as you can see, moving along, you can see our inventory is on the right side. This is where our workbench and our workers are working on some repair at the moment. Yep. So if you sign up with some repair packages with us, we can also help you. If you have some other third-party brand, we can also able to help you from some repair. Yeah. So I hope, Inga, you have a good tour to our workshop. So Inga, back to you.
Thank you so much, Tommy and Roy. Seeing you on the setup, your cool working space. It's safe to say that you guys should have your own talk show, yeah? Titled Aquaman, maybe? Aquaman with the Bosch Rexroth cut. So,
well, perhaps, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you should. And please hang back a while because not only we're going to visit Marine's Repair Center in Singapore, we're also going to visit service center from the rest of ASEAN. So we will see the service center from the rest of ASEAN countries.
So whatever you need, the original spare part, the technical support, or the site service from Bosch Rexroth, just call us. Don't wait. Count on Bosch Rexroth Service to keep your system and machine running.
Welcome to Bosch Rexroth Indonesia. I'm Yudi. I'm responsible for service and operation in Indonesia. We established in 2001 and we are now operating in 2 locations. First in Jakarta and second in Balikpapan. In Balikpapan, we are focusing on mining and mobile industry. Meanwhile, in Jakarta, we are focusing on pulp and paper, marine, and other general industries. Currently, we are testing big Hagwon motor MB4000 for our biggest pulp and paper customer. We move, you win.
Give a big virtual round of applause to Bosch Rexroth. Wow, they got all over service facilities in every major country in ASEAN. And if I witnessed correctly just now, Indonesia also have 2 service facilities in 2 major cities, Jakarta and Balikpapan, focusing on pulp and paper, marine, mining, and mobile industry, all to ensure a great after-sale service for the customer. And to add to this great after-sale service, Bosch Rexroth also offers service agreements. So next up, we want more of Yudi Heriawan, of course, Manager of Service and Engineering from Indonesia, with use cases to show you how service agreements add value. Yudi, my fellow Indonesian.
Hello.
Apa kabar?
I'm good, Ida. Thanks for asking.
Sure. Cannot wait what you're going to say to us on this presentation.
Yes, I would like to share some insight about service agreements and some, cases and examples of Indonesian customers.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yuri, before presentation, I've got some question. Is it correct that some might see service agreements limiting?
Yes, I'm afraid some might seem them that way, but the truth is they don't have to be. In fact, service agreements have the benefits, like how they do for a couple of our customers in Indonesia.
Okay. Do tell us, Yudi, about it.
Yeah, so by the service agreements, the customer will have a guarantee of the originality of the spare parts. So most of the package also over live on-site training. In case of emergency support needed, the field service can go right away to the site, as agreed in the agreement. And of course, a fixed price across the contract period. So that's, and more lots of benefits that can over by the service agreements.
Thank you so much, of course, for the explanation and interesting examples. I hope the examples can help customers in the region to see the benefits of adding service agreements. So later on, we'll have the Q&A, but for now, let's witness together the service agreement presentation that is being presented by Yudi.
Okay, thank you, Inga. Good morning to colleagues from Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Good afternoon to colleagues from Australia and New Zealand. I'm Yudi, responsible for service operation in Bosch Rexroth Indonesia. Now I would like to share a rather light topic, service agreements, and some cases or example for Indonesian customers. So in the slide 2, I would like to explain a little bit about the story of Bosch Rexroth in Indonesia. So we established as a Bosch Rexroth company in 2001, but started the activities as joint ventures since 1994. So, as mentioned by Inga, we currently operate from 2 main locations of offices, consist of workshops and warehouses in Jakarta and Balikpapan, where we have 2 hydraulic test benches facilities in both locations. Currently, we are servicing our customers across the country throughout sales representatives in different cities, ranging from Medan, Palembang, Surabaya, and just recently joining at the end of 2020, sales representative from Makassar. Not forgetting Jakarta and Balikpapan as main offices. We also plan to be established in Batam somewhere around Q3 this year. Next slide, please. We have a range of service business portfolio ranging from in-house repair, field servicing, spare parts, health checks, condition and monitoring extended service such as training and consultation, and also service agreements that I will share a little bit in the next slides. Next. Okay, so what is a service agreement? Since we are end-user market-based country, we have a wide variety of business sectors. And when it comes to services, we used to handle the service business in traditional way, where we serve our customers based on one demand to one supply only. So, to be accepted in the captive market, we must change the mindset and becoming agile for service needs and customer from customers. We started the initiative about 2 years ago, and it's about bundling the services to a tailored agreement fitting customers' needs locally. Next slides, please. So basically, what we do first is to identify the needs of the customers by doing the risk assessment, engage with customers. Then the outcome of the assessments are the list of the proposed actions to improve the performance of the systems. And finally, choosing the right service package that's suitable to the needs of the customers. Next. Next. So I took this really nice slide, actually already shown also by Matthew earlier. So the result of the exercise will be a tailored service package proposal that consists variety of service portfolio that specifically fits for the customer needs. In this opportunity, I would only share 2 examples of service package of in-house repair and field servicing, specifically on health checks or fitness checks, since we are having more demands currently from end-user customers in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So first, I'm talking about the repair package. In this package, there are 3 ways of repairing the pumps or motors. First is the traditional way of standard repair, which mainly inspection report based approach, which is common for all service business. Second is the fixed price repair, which are suitable for customer that has heavy duty application, which force the pumps and motors to work on maximum performance. Basically, the price is distinguished by major or minor classification, which predefined with customer before. The last one is unit exchange, which customer can have a new unit with exchange of the damaged core, but basically terms and conditions are applied as agreed with customer. This is suitable with customer that has forecasted use of the pumps or motors across the year to secure the availability of the units. But at the end of the day, the intention is for sure to make customers satisfied with our services. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, currently we get more inquiries on health checks or fitness checks, mostly from end user customers. This health check service was firstly introduced by Haglin's team through fitness checks of the motor. Then we applied this also to a complete hydraulic power unit of systems. These approaches are really beneficial for high installed base customer with limitation of power or basic knowledge of hydraulic maintenance. So basically we do a site visit to check the condition of the system. We do check on critical parameters, takes all samples and collecting all necessary information from the hydraulic systems. And the outcome of the check is the full customized health report of the system. Actually, we have 2 different report templates. specifically for Hagwon systems and for general hydraulic power units. Next slides, please. You know, in the last 2 slides, I would like to share some cases example of the service agreements that we had and which currently run with our local customers. Like in the left side for the fixed price package, we have 2 examples of the agreements with oil drilling service companies. The agreements are tailored to 2 years of fixed price repair of the motors and pumps, and also combined with the emergency calls of field service in case of emergency issues at customer site. Mostly 4 Fiji pumps are used in the crane application and the Neil motors in top drive application. We also have one example of 1-year fixed price agreement of the spare parts with government-owned energy provider company. They have several locations across nations. This contract covers locations in Indonesia, bundled with the installation supervision service for pumps and motors. In the right side, you can see the examples of the health checks agreements that we have. We have been dealing with customers from different sectors. Here are the 3 examples of customers from cement industry, pulp and paper, and also mining. We have been working with the largest group of pulp and paper company in Indonesia for quite some time. They have hundreds of Hagwon motors and Rexroth pumps installed base. In fact, so far they are the largest install base we have in Indonesia. We have several fitness checks agreements on their Hagwon motors and Rexroth pumps, helping them to make sure motors and pumps in perfect condition. We also have one example of health checks of hydraulic power unit system in one of the largest cement maker in Indonesia on their shredder application, and quite satisfied with the result and willing to extend and add the scope of the contract for another application and locations as well. One largest example from health check agreement was from one new nickel mining in Sulawesi, which just recently we have. They have one CB280 that runs since 2011, and quite happy with the check result that the motor is still in top performance after running more than 10 years. Next slides, please. In the unit exchange business on the left side, you can see that we have 2 agreements with 2 customers from the mining industries. We have an annual based contract on travel motors, slewing pump and main pumps. Supply, and currently we are on the 3rd year round of contracts with both customers. And the last example from condition monitoring that currently we have 2 trial proposals ongoing in pulp and paper and cement business. Basically, the proposal was covering the service of monitoring, the process reporting, and field servicing. Thank you. That is the end of my presentation. Go back to you, Inga.
Thank you so much, Mas Yudi, for the explanation. And ladies and gentlemen, you have just been given a preview of Bosch Rexroth service capabilities in ASEAN and Oceania. If you have any questions at all, please type them in the Q&A section, and any of the speaker will be more than happy to answer them. And while we wait the questions to come in, let me call upon once again our speakers to come back and join Yudi on the stage. Hello again, Andrew, Paul, are you still with us? Matt and Tommy. Hi. Hello, gentlemen. So you guys are still here, yeah? So let's give a few more seconds to the audience to type their questions. But before that, I got questions. This one is for one of our presenters here. Let me zoom in on the question to make it clearer. But because we have a limited amount of time, kindly put your questions on the Q&A inserts on your Zoom. And we are gladly ask the questions to all of our speakers joining us here on the first session. So, we're still waiting. And you keep moving. And we keep winning. Okay. My first question will be, okay, we're still waiting actually because it's still early in the morning here in Indonesia. Maybe we could be given more examples, more tour, so it becomes clearer to us the audience here about the service from Bosch Rexroth, not only in Indonesia, but all around ASEAN and Oceania. And we still got time, I guess, for the gentlemen joining us on our session. If you have burning questions, anything at all regarding the service from Bosch Rexroth, kindly hit us up on the Q&A button over there. It's so easy, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the next 2 days because we're going to find out not only about Hagglin, but all around services that is being provided by Bosch Rexroth. All right. Wow. A lot of questions that is being filtered by our lovely team here to make sure that the question is being answered by the right team. And who could do that more than our team from Australia and from Singapore? We're looking forward for your questions, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this one is for Yudi. Okay, the question for Yudi, may you put it on the screen? Okay. Yudi, kindly hang back a while. We could safely say that we are expected the unexpected during the live session. So it's best if you, our lovely audience, have any questions to all of our speakers during their presentation, kindly hit us up on the Q&A box on your Zoom chat. All right. So the question is for Yudi. What is the output from CM support currently, and what are the type guarantee given to the customer? And the next question is, should we have service agreement in the first place?
Sorry, can you repeat? I cannot see in the...
Sure. So the question is about the output from the CM support currently. What is that? And what is the guarantee given to the customer? What type of guarantee given to the customer?
Okay.
And the next question.
I think the CM means conditional monitoring, right? So I think Matthew from Australia has already put underline that for the conditional monitoring, it should be based on the service agreement. So actually, it's quite a huge and wide scope of conditional monitoring. So it's based on case by case, based on customer needed as well. So the guarantee, for sure, we guarantee of the originality of the spare parts, and of course we have a non-disclosure agreement before we have this conditional monitoring services. So maybe Matthew, if you want to add on, you can jump in.
So maybe Matthew, would you like to add more on that statement? All right. Matthew's been a bit occupied with the office. Now the second question, Yudi, should we have service agreement in the first place?
Yes, for sure, because as explained, the conditional monitoring is concerning about the data, the machine data from the customers. Even though, as mentioned a little bit by Matthew, that the data is not really it is binary data 0101 basically, and then we have this data analytical processor Odin that can process that in the system, but then it has to go through the cloud. So there's some non-disclosure agreement between the customers and us. So service agreement is a must.
You hear it first. Service agreement is a must. All right, then I'm afraid we're coming to the end of our first session. The question that is not getting answered, rest assured we will get back to you soon after the show. And ladies and gentlemen, Before we close off the first session, I would like to ask for you guys to give back later on, but now we actually still got one more questions. Okay, this one is for Tommy. Okay, the question came from our friends, the lovely audience joining us here in this morning. Tommy, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Okay, Tommy, the first question is about the ability. Are we able to witness the testing of pumps at your workshop? The testing of pumps at your... Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course. Sure. We actually encourage customers to come and see and witness the test. I think it's also good that customer sees that we are really specialized in repairing the pump, and of course with our state-of-the-art test rig. And yeah, like I said, we will always welcome customers to witness the pump test. Yeah.
Sure. Looking forward to it. And the next question, do we have a service team to go on board for troubleshooting?
Yes, we have. Even though we may not have, let's say on that day, our service guys are not available, but we have people like our CE partner may also help us. This is where we have a good collaboration with our CE partner,
right.
with Roy.
That's
Yep.
right.
You agree, Roy? Yep. Yep.
We will join up to expand our service capabilities to our customers as well. So that is all right.
Yep. So that's why we have a very good relationship with our partners, just to help or support the customer better. Yep.
And the last question for you is about what sort of spare part that you keep in your inventory.
Yeah, we do keep those market range. We have a market range here that cater to our Singapore side. So we do keep a few. And of course, our partners also is keeping a few. So if we have run out of stock, then our partners will also able to, help us out as well. So we actually helping out each other, yeah, in that sense. So in that sense, we'll try our best, to support the customer as much as possible. Yeah.
Sure, I bet that's always the case, to support the customer the best you can, yeah, the best we all can here in Bosch Rexroth. Of course, because this is our first Q&A session, I would like to remind you during the next session, please use the Q&A section on your Zoom to give us suggestions, comments, and everything that you would like to share during our live event. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again to all of our speakers joining on the first session. Thank you once again, Tommy. Thank you, Andrew, Paul, Matt, and of course, Mas Yudi.
Thank you.
All right then. We'd also like to get your feedback of the presentations and the speakers. It will literally only take 1 minute, all right? So gentlemen and few ladies over here, please be prepared. I got polling questions. And the question is, do you find the speakers engaging in their delivery? Please take a look at your poll feature. Do you find the speakers engaging in their delivery? A, very much, B, so-so, or C, not at all. We value your feedback very much, so kindly help us to make this event something that is more powerful to you, more engaging to you. And the next question is, did you find the presentations explain practical examples and useful techniques applicable to your operations? State A, if it's very much, B, so-so, or C, not at all. All right? Our 1 minute is up. And that concludes our session. Let me remind you that the next session will be on 2 p.m. Singapore time. 2 p.m. Singapore time. So see you soon on Hydraulics Tech Talk, brought to you by Rexroth Live.